Welcome to 5 Minutes, your quick dive into the wide-ranging world of insurance, technology, and leadership. I'm Miguel Edwards, and I'll be your guide as we explore these topics that are transforming not just the insurance industry, but the business world at large. Along with sharing observations I've made over the span of my career in insurance, technology, and operations, I'll be chatting with some of the brightest minds in business and leadership. Whether you're a seasoned executive or a rising star, an industry expert, or just curious about how technology is revolutionizing insurance, this is your perfect spot for your weekly dose of insights. This is 5 Minutes. Talk to me a little bit about your approach when we engage customers, when you engage your clients, to really helping them understand the importance that needs to be put on establishing data governance and an actual data governance strategy. And I'll ask you the question, should that be in place before the technology?
I couldn't agree more that data governance is a real big issue today. And when you think about data governance, if you think about all of the regulations and compliance that is in insurance, and you think about things like CCPA, the California Protection Act, and you think about different states that are starting to have their own policies and for us to be able to build architecture and be able to be responsible for the customer's data, it's very important that we think about governance is how do you get to the data? Do you understand what the data mean? Can you trust the data that's out there? Can you find the data? If I was a customer for an insurance company and I were to go out there and say, hey, I moved on to a different insurance company, I want you to wipe out all of my information. I don't want you to share my information anymore. I don't want you to, anybody at your organization to see my information. Can you be able to identify who Quang is in your system and be able to either obfuscate all of the data, get rid of all of the data, or maintain it in a way that it's not pointing to me if I were to call in and say, what information you still have about me, right? So being able to understand where data governance is and being able to comply to that is a part of the overall data strategy.
Right.
So trying to say, hey, where am I trying to go? What are the policies that I'm trying to abide by? Privacy, security, making sure I'm not part of, when you become a part of a data breach and then customers are concerned about their data, what are you going to do for all of that? You have to have a response in place.
Along with CCPA, we also have the European corollary of that as well, GDPR. And, that we talk about this kind of constantly evolving landscape of shifting requirements. One of the things that I've been part of is working for two different life insurance companies is even on beyond just even privacy, you've even got accounting standards that change the way our data models need to look. So for example, FASB is re-architecting how life insurance contracts are valued using a concept called LDTI, long duration targeted improvements. So that's going to shift the entirety of how we manage data from a life insurance contract perspective. The European corollary of that is IFRS 17. And so insurance companies now are grappling with the need to take advantage of flexible data architectures, which they didn't have the forethought, and I don't think any of us did really, right? The forethought to make sure that flexibility was architected into our overall stack. So with that, how can insurers, now that we've got the benefit of hindsight and the appreciation for this problem, and my guess is that the change is going to come at an ever faster rate in terms of what regulators are wanting and the privacy laws are valuing, et cetera. How do we get our customers to think about flexible data architectures? What does that even look like? What does that feel like? How do we have that conversation?
Miguel, you brought up a very good point, and I don't have the exact terminologies with me, but where data is evolving right now it's the age of metadata. It's managing the data about data at this point. So there are tools that are coming out there. Again, the tool is not the end all be all. Here at Fortimize, we firmly believe technology is only the enabler of your people and your process. But however, establishing a tool that is out there, like a data governance tool, like Alation, to be able to manage all your metadata, to understand how your data is well connected, it allows you to be agile and nimble to be able to develop new models, new data models on the fly. Meaning you're able to take a look at your metadata and it's on read. In the old days, when you have a flat file, you have 10 columns. If you add an 11th column, it's going to break all of the integrations. It's going to break getting data into your system. These days, if you're managing the metadata by itself and you're reading the 10 columns, and even if you have 100 columns on that file, it's always going to read those 10 columns and it's not going to break that process.
Thank you for joining this episode of 5 Minutes. If you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love for you to share it with anyone else you think might find it interesting. Also, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on and hit that bell to stay on top of the game with our practical 5-minute episodes. We look forward to seeing you again next week.